Good evening and welcome to a new episode of Bahrain Today, where we'll bring you the latest events and shed light on many amazing local talents and initiatives. Today we will be talking about fintech platforms and services and how they are changing the face of banking in the world. All this and more right after this. Welcome back. Tarabat Gateway is the first open banking platform and the biggest infrastructure provider to fintech in the MENA region. It's also the first licensed account information service provider, AISP, and payment initiation service provider, PISP, in the MENA region. Welcome back. The fintech industry is revolutionary and is literally taking over the finance sector. And by developing a single universal open banking API, they provide access to a global network of banks and fintechs that allows money and information to flow securely, instantly, and at a low cost. To talk more about this, we are joined by Ms. Yasmin Al-Sharaf, Head of Fintech and Innovation Unit at Central Bank of Bahrain, and Dania Al-Shuwaykh, Marketing and Client Supporting Manager at the Tarabat Gateway. How are you, ladies? Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Our pleasure. I will start with you, Ms. Yasmin. Tell us about CBB's fintech initiatives and how you relate to Tarabat Gateway.
First of all, Mohammed, thank you for hosting us today and for shedding light on fintech, which is a very important topic.
Right.
To answer you, I would like to start off by saying that in Bahrain, we are extremely blessed to have a leadership that is very pro-innovation, that is progressive, that is forward-thinking. And in fact, innovation and technology is really embedded within the government's action plan. And therefore, at the Central Bank of Bahrain, we work day in and day out in order to create an enabling regulatory environment for fintech to thrive and for innovation for innovation within the financial services sector. So in terms of our initiatives, I'm going to just highlight three main initiatives, just in favor of time. And if you have any further questions or want me to elaborate more, probably I'll be more than happy to do so at the end. So the main three initiatives that we undertake or embark on at the Central Bank of Bahrain is, first of all, we have established a dedicated fintech and innovation unit back in 2017.
Amazing.
And we were considered as the first regulator in the whole of the region to establish a dedicated unit for fintech and innovation.
Impressive.
And today we have a number of regulators that are approaching us for guidance and to learn from our experience.
Right.
The second biggest initiative that we have launched, and I think that has proven to be a catalyst for innovation within our financial services sector, is establishing our regulatory sandbox back in 2017. And again, the regulatory sandbox is also the first of its kind in the whole of the MENA region.
Impressive.
Let me just speak briefly on the concept of the sandbox, what it is,
Please
and
do.
how it supports fintech companies and startups and existing financial institutions as well. So the sandbox is really a virtual environment that enables startups not only from Bahrain but from all around the world, including existing financial institutions, to test out their innovative financial products and solutions with real-time volunteer customers in a time-bound, controlled environment without being subjected to full regulatory requirements. So very relaxed regulations. And therefore, it allows these startups to really explore their solutions, to conceptualize their solutions. And if those solutions were proven to be successful upon graduating from the sandbox, it's a great chance for them to then scale their operations into regional markets and also internationally.
Impressive.
And then the third initiative, which we work on at the central bank in terms of supporting fintech, is laying down the necessary regulatory foundation to support and foster innovation within our financial services sector. So we're always researching the latest updates and regulations. We have open communication with other regulators around the world, either in the form of bilateral agreements or in the form of, for example, joining regulatory networks, for example, the Global Financial Innovation Network, which is led by the FCA, the regulator back in the UK. So putting in place enabling regulations is a huge part of what we do at the central bank, at the fintech unit, to foster innovation and to kind of embrace fintech, because we really believe that fintech is going to play, it is the future, and we believe it's going to play a significant role in developing the economy in the Kingdom of Bahrain.
And it's already developed, it's already played a significant role.
Absolutely. Let me give you an example. I mean, since inception of establishing the sandbox back in 2017 until date, we've received 78 applications, which is a significant figure. And today we have around 37 companies that are operating and approved in the sandbox.
Wow.
Speaking of Tarabat Gateway is one of the many success stories of our regulatory sandbox. So they were the first startup. It's founded and backed by a Bahraini entrepreneur.
Right.
He was the first to enter into the sandbox to trial open banking aggregation and payment initiation services, which were really unheard of in this region. As a regulator, and we're very flexible, we're very agile, we were there, we listened to the idea, we enabled him to enter into the sandbox, to develop the solution. And once he graduated from the sandbox, that actually pushed us as a regulator to develop dedicated regulations for open banking.
Great.
Again, putting Bahrain on the map as the first for coming out with open banking regulation, following the steps of the UK, Europe, and very few jurisdictions around the world.
Great. Well, speaking of Tarabat, would you please, Ms. Dania, tell us more about Tarabat Gateway?
Sure. So, as Yasmin said, Tarabat Gateway is the first open banking platform in the MENA region.
Impressive.
To give you just a bit of an idea on how it started, the founder, Abdullah Al-Muayyad, 2 years ago, identified a huge problem, which is that the average GCC national has 3 to 4 bank accounts with no platform to view all his transactions and financial information on.
Right.
All right. So what happened was with the Tarabat Gateway and with the regulatory sandbox by the CBB, we went into the sandbox, we graduated, and open banking as a phenomenon started picking up in other parts of the world, like the UK, for example. But we wanted to do it a bit differently here in Bahrain.
Right.
We wanted to learn from other jurisdictions, learn from some of the mistakes that happened, which is what in parts like the UK, for example, there are digital propositions, challenger banks that are competing with existing banks. Here in Bahrain, we wanted to partner up with the banks and work very closely with financial institutions to enable them to empower the end customer. And that is why the name Tarabat came about. It's the interlinking and the interconnection of all stakeholders within the financial services sector.
Impressive. And how does it work exactly? What do you provide?
Okay, so Tarabat Gateway as a platform, we went live with the National Bank of Bahrain in December. If you would go onto the app of the National Bank of Bahrain, you would see an open banking tab where you would be able to connect your National Bank of Bahrain's account and other bank accounts here in Bahrain. So what it does, it tells you, it gives you a trend analysis, it gives you budgeting across all accounts, and it tells you if you're spending more on this month rather than the next month, and personally, a personal use case, which is that when I personally used it, I realized how much I'm spending on a certain amount.
Oh, wow.
And the idea of it is to help the end users make better financial decisions.
Would I be able to add my credit card
Yes.
also. So
Essentially,
my credit card, my saving, my checking,
Your
different
loans,
banks,
your
everything.
mortgages, yeah.
That's
And that's
good.
a big step taken by the
Definitely.
Central Bank of
Yeah.
Bahrain. So in other jurisdictions, only the top largest banks were mandated to be open banking compliant. In Bahrain, all retail banks are mandated to be open banking compliant, and they have to open up everything they have, from their accounts to their loans, mortgages, credit cards. And at the end of the day, I think the Central Bank of Bahrain has the end user's interests at the heart of this digital transformation strategy that we're seeing in Bahrain.
Definitely. Thank you, CBB. So, Ms. Yasmin, my next question is for you. Bahrain is a pioneer in the field in the MENA region. What does this reflect, and how do you, as an institution, build on that?
Yes, Bahrain is a pioneer actually in this field and in the whole of the MENA region. And I just want to reiterate what I said earlier, Mohammed, is that is an indicator of the strong visionary leadership that we have.
Yes, ma'am.
And we take that extremely seriously at the central bank. It is part of our agenda and strategy. The way that we work to develop this or to foster this is by ensuring our regulations, first of all, are enabling, that our regulations do not stifle innovation within the financial services sector, of course, while ensuring that we have mitigants in place that will keep any risks associated at a minimum level.
Yeah.
Or to deal with the associated risks. We also play a big role in developing a conducive ecosystem for these fintechs to come to Bahrain, to thrive and grow, and also for our existing financial institutions to be ready for the demands of the future. We play a big role in collaborating with different stakeholders and partners, whether from the government or private sector. For example, we work very closely with the Bahrain Economic Development Board from an end. We work very closely with Bahrain Fintech Bay and other partners and stakeholders under the umbrella of Team Bahrain. Which is to foster an enabling ecosystem for fintech, which again will be a very integral part of our economy.
Impressive, impressive. So, Ms. Dania, how do you value the fintech business in the Kingdom of Bahrain, and how it's keeping up with the rapid international development?
I think we're definitely very lucky to be based in Bahrain, and the reason being is that the regulator is very agile. Bahrain, in comparison to other markets, we're way ahead. Bahrain in the MENA region is now positioned as the leading fintech destination. The speed to market and the speed to legislate here in Bahrain is very impressive. It comes to the size of the market, but obviously that the regulator and institutions here in Bahrain really have their ears and eyes on the market. They're here for the end user. And at the end of the day, they're driving innovation. I think the classic misconception or conundrum is that the regulator would slow down innovation. Here in Bahrain, the regulator is driving innovation, which is definitely very stimulating. Even more advanced countries in terms of the fintech ecosystem, like Singapore, for example, are very impressed with what Bahrain is doing in the region.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And ladies, we're about to end the segment. Is there anything you want to add before we conclude?
Yeah, I'd like to add just two things, Mohammed, if you allow me.
Please
The
do.
first of which is fintech is a reality. It's here to stay. It is the future.
It is the future.
And therefore, it's very important that we focus on fintech. And that takes me on to my second point, which is we need to call out to different stakeholders to invest in fintech. We need a call out to private institutions to invest into fintech. We need to call out on educational institutions to invest into fintech, and we need to call upon the parents to guide their children
to study fintech.
to study and to understand fintech, because at the end of the day, we will require Bahrainis to be leading this sector, which will be an integral sector to our economy in the future.
Yes, ma'am. As I said off air earlier, I'm actually thinking of doing my MBA in fintech, my master's in fintech in BIBF, which is now
which recently
available.
launched.
Yes, then probably thanks to you as well.
Well, because we're continuously encouraging the educational sector in general. We have a very close relationship with the Bahrain Institute of Banking and Finance.
Right.
And they have done a great job in terms of coming up with courses for spreading more awareness into fintech. And with this new program they have for the masters in fintech, that is a very important milestone for us in Bahrain.
Yeah.
Tanya, anything?
I definitely have to agree with everything Yasmin said. Something that I want to add on to that is the importance of collaboration within this community. I think if we really want to drive this ahead, it's about collaborating with everyone in the ecosystem. Everyone now has the chance to benefit from all the new technologies coming up in fintech. Fintech is not necessarily going to compete with the existing ecosystem. It's here to just improve it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Very interesting segment. Thanks. Tune in as we have more to come on Bahrain Today. We will be right back. Welcome back. Aon was founded with the belief that purpose belongs at the heart of human endeavor. The fintech platform utilizes disruptive technologies to digitize the banking experience. To talk more about this fintech platform, we are joined in the studio by Mr. Osama Al-Khaja, Board Advisor at Aon Digital, and Mr. Sharif Nazim, Chief Digital Officer at Aon Digital. Hello, gentlemen. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Hamid.
It's our pleasure, sir. So, Mr. Osama, tell us more about Aon Digital. And what is it exactly, and what services do you provide?
Aon Digital is a Bahraini company founded in Bahrain in 2017 by a group of bankers and consultants.
All right.
And we founded the company to develop digital banks in Bahrain and in the region. There is, as you know, a need fintech, because fintech is a disrupting technology that disrupts the banking system, and we believe there is a need at that time to form a company engaged in developing digital banks. And since then, we successfully developed lots of digital banks and branches in the form of digital platforms for Bahraini market and the region market, starting from Bahrain.
That's excellent, excellent. So you've been in the business field for a long time, in the banking field for a long time. How do you see the future of such fintech initiatives and platforms?
As I mentioned, fintech is a disrupting technology, and nowadays banking services are not limited to banks. Banks do provide banking services, but many other non-banks provide also banking services in a competitive service manner. So what happened? This puts pressure on banks to change and to continue and develop their
service. It's good for the end.
Yes, exactly. Good for the customers.
And users, yeah.
Yes. So this puts basically a pressure on all financial institutions to change and adapt the fintech technologies to provide better services for customers. So innovation, basically creativity and innovation towards financial inclusion is a very important objective for all banks to achieve.
Yes,
and that's why fintech comes to transform banks into digital banks, into a new era. So as we speak, banks are reinvented now, as we speak, towards totally different banks.
Yes, sir.
In the coming few years or even few months, we will witness more and more changes.
And that's the future.
Absolutely.
That's the future.
Yeah.
Disruptive technology, just
Disruptive
like you said.
technology.
So, Mr. Sharik, tell us about Aon cutting-edge services to banks specifically, and how does such a fintech platform elevate their work?
Thank you, Mohammed. This is a very important question and something that I've been asked many times. As we know, banking is rotten to the core.
Yes, sir.
And we are here to change not the banking itself, but how the banking works. right? There is a difference. Banking will remain banking. Credit will remain credit and debit will remain debit.
Yeah.
But it's the way the banking innovation moves. That's what we need to. That's what we are here for. Through the use of disruptive business models, latest technologies, and innovative mindset. If you look at, if you take a real life example and you say, if a bank itself wants to embark on a journey of digitization themselves, they have to go through a long bureaucratic process, right? I mean, in terms of defining the customer journeys, defining the processes, doing the RFPs, assembling the different vendors. I mean, enabling one customer journey actually takes about 18 months itself.
Wow.
And starting position is $10 to $15 million.
Wow.
This is where we come in. So what we have done is, I've been a banker myself, I've been on the other side. When we defined this platform, we were very, very mindful that we need to understand the pain points of the customer. So it has to be a customer focused and a customer centric proposition, but also the banking sector itself. We can't leave them in isolation, right? We understand the problems, so we need to solve. It has to be a win-win situation for both parties. So this platform, what we have built is state-of-the-art, best-of-breed technologies. It fast-tracks your journey of digitization from 18 months to 3 months, 1/4 the fraction of the cost.
Impressive.
It is truly agile, steady, fast, and very stable. So that's where we make a huge difference there.
Wow. Thank you for making the difference then.
Thank
Disruptive technology. I love that word, disruptive technology.
Thank you.
And another question. You've also been in this field for a long time and have an outstanding background about this field in specific. How do you value Bahrain's initiatives in the fintech field?
So I have worked almost every continent you can talk about, right? From Europe to Africa to Canada to US. Being in Bahrain for the last 2 years, it has been a phenomenal journey. I mean, I can see the passion, I can see the energy, all the way from the regulator to the government to the central bank. Everyone is so passionate about this whole proposition that it looks to me that this is going to be the next big thing in Bahrain. It's already started to happen.
Yeah.
If you look at the BDB initiatives, the economic board, how the CBB is reacting to the whole fintech agenda, it's phenomenal. It's very re-energizing, and it's something that I enjoy to the core of my heart.
Thank you, thank you. Mr. Osama, can you tell us more about your projects and your future plans?
Sure. We in Aon, we continue to develop projects and solutions for financial institutions and for our customers to ensure they remain competitive, and we remain competitive, of course, obviously, to do that. And it's not limited. Our solutions are not limited only to using few technologies for banking, but it goes beyond that by using data analysis, machine learning, towards artificial intelligence and robotic process applications. And those solutions will transform further the meaning and the definition of banking services. And they will enable banks to better serve the customers and acquire new customers and be more competitive with the others. And as I mentioned, we also do advise our banks on how to remain competitive.
Yes, sir.
How to be on the front line with the leaders of financial institutions.
Yes,
we continue also to develop our team, Bahraini teams. From Bahrain, we have lots of youth from Bahrain who work with us as a team, and we are very pleased to announce that we have recently spent more than $1 million just to develop the Bahraini young teams towards fintech and to be leaders in the fintech world, inshallah, in the near future.
Impressive. I'll go off script. What was a big disruptive technology that we faced in the past 10 years?
I would say the disruptive technology that we faced maybe longer than the 30 years was
Okay.
the internet.
Okay.
And then recently with the fintech, we have also the blockchain technology,
Right.
which technology was developed initially for digital currencies, to manage and to
Yes.
issue digital currencies.
Yes.
But the blockchain applications is by far much more than digital currencies, and it is used now in many different applications for government services, bankings, and many others.
Right.
So, so since the internet,
Yeah.
we didn't really witness
A big disruptive technology.
Yeah.
As internet.
Yeah. So the growth, and this is now a challenge and opportunity. The challenge is that the acceleration of the technology goes very fast, and institutions and users need to cope and adapt to the changes.
Yes, sir.
And
Totally agree.
exactly. So, and it's opportunities absolutely for us and for many others to capture. If we don't capture, we'll stay behind.
Back.
Yeah.
Right. Anything else before we conclude this segment, Mr. Sharif?
So I think just from my perspective, having witnessed the whole change and the whole disruption in the last 3 to 5 years, what we have witnessed is there are two mindsets that exist today.
Yeah.
One is who are embracing the whole innovation and disruption and moving along with it. And these are the people on organizations that are being successful, and the others who are resisting the change. So it's about mindset, less of a technology, but I think it's the mindset in my view.
All right. And we have the mindset to go forward.
Exactly.
Thank you, Bahrain. Thank you, CVB. Well, that's it for today. Thank you very much, gentlemen. That was a very interesting segment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hello and welcome to the gaming and pop culture segment right here at Bahrain Today. This time we're going to talk about Dragon Ball. Who doesn't know Dragon Ball if you watch anime? You know, Kamehameha, Goku, and everybody. So, let's watch a trailer of Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. Ha!
やってられんな。よっ。まあこんなもんだろう。この俺にかかれば釣りなどこんなものだ。はっふん。たあ。
And now with us here today, representing Bandai Namco Middle East, talking about the latest game by Bandai Namco, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot with Rashid Miqdad.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man, good. So, Dragon Ball, let's talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like you said, who doesn't know Dragon Ball? It is one of the most popular anime shonen manga ever.
Ever, man.
You know, like that's the thing that pretty much put, I think a lot of people who got introduced to manga and shonen got introduced through Dragon Ball and particularly through Dragon Ball Z.
Of course.
So this is basically our kind of love letter to all those fans.
Yeah,
because,
that's beautiful.
Yeah, because I mean, we want to make like a really in-depth Dragon Ball Z game because I'm sure you know, like a lot of Dragon Ball games have mostly been fighting games.
Yes, yes.
And while they're all great, like Dragon Ball Fighters, it's really great, has a growing community.
Oh man, of course, the esports scene.
We want people to step out of the ring and explore this vast world that was created by Akira Toriyama.
Okay, so Akira Toriyama himself was supervising the game, right?
Yeah, I mean, he created specific characters because the story is basically the entire Z saga. So you get to play everything from when Goku faces off his brother Raditz up until him fighting Majin Buu. Man. So that is the entire Z saga, and the cool thing is we are filling in some gaps in between because like some of the anime has like time skips. Yeah. So sometimes, you know, you see this character, he's grown up, all of a sudden something happened in between. So we like to fill in these gaps with extra content, and that includes new characters that have been designed by Akira Toriyama.
Now that being said, so for everybody who watched the entire saga season for Dragon Ball Z, now if you're gonna play the game, will they think like, oh my god, it's so aligned, but what's the twist in the game?
I mean, the twist is obviously, first of all, you're experiencing it for yourself. You get to fly around. Open world. You get to even drive a car. Yeah, there's that one. It was a filler episode, but it's basically an episode where Goku and Piccolo get a driving license. Man, people really love that episode. Yeah. So we kind of, again, like I said, it's kind of a love letter to the people who watch the show. So we're letting people drive a car, so you can see Goku with like his Super Saiyan hair, just driving a car, you know, chilling out. Yeah. So
that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, and the cool thing is like you can have these big epic battles, and because it's in this consistent world, you get to see things happening to the world while you're fighting. So for example, when Goku faces off Vegeta in the desert and in the canyons, it was like a very iconic moment. You know, Vegeta is just gonna, you know, he's super confident, he's gonna take down Goku. Yes. And like in the battle, you're fighting, and you can even do like a Kamehameha blast. Yes. And you can even actually see like Vegeta dodging it, and it could actually like destroy the canyon behind him, and you could see the rubble coming from. So like we're really, like I said, we want to make this world feel alive. Okay. We want people to feel like they're in this world. They can fly anywhere. They can do side quests. They can even do fishing. Yeah. You can hunt beasts. You know, because. There's a lot of like different beasts that that are in this world of Dragon Ball.
Yes,
you know?
Yes.
It's a very strange and interesting world because you see all these talking animals. They're driving cars, and then you see people. You know, and then if you go in the wild area, you see like dinosaurs roaming about. Okay.
Now for that. Now, we played a lot of Dragon Ball games, right? And open worlds, that kind of stuff. So is this like building on a new mechanics, or is it scratch from zero?
I mean, this is kind of like a new take on Dragon Ball Z games because we want to really like take it up to the next level. The story, the adventure, that's like the front and center. The characters, getting to learn more about them, experiencing it through their eyes. That's kind of the message we want to give with the game. Okay. So I mean, like you could even go to like the planet Namek, and you get to explore that planet. Yeah. So
Frieza.
And of course, Frieza is inside. Yeah. You know, Frieza's in the game, and you get to face him off. All of it is just like all those iconic moments, and you see it happening. And I have to give credit with the team at CyberConnect 2.
CyberConnect 2, yeah, they've been pretty much aligned with a lot of projects.
Yes, I mean CyberConnect 2, they're the guys who made the Ultimate Ninja Storm series. Yeah. And they are phenomenal when it comes to animation. Like you look at the especially in the Ultimate Ninja Storm series when you play as one of the Naruto characters. Yeah. And they do all the moves and the explosions, and it looks like it's just a copy paste from the anime.
Yeah.
Like, but it's running in the engine. It's running in the engine, and they're they're carrying that philosophy with the Dragon Ball Z and Kakarot.
Using the same engine?
It's not the same engine, but using
Okay.
the same kind of technique, I would say, the same kind of attention to detail.
Okay.
Because, like, for example, there's one, like, you can make an animation with Goku doing a blast of a Kamehameha, but then,
Yeah.
you know, you need to think about the details, the you know, how his hair is flowing,
Oh,
the
man.
sweat, yeah, like
To that detail.
that detail, like the way the energy blast, because even the energy blast has like an animation, you know,
Yeah,
like,
it does.
and even like when like Goku goes Kaioken, where like he buffs up, and you actually see him buffing up, and it looks so cool.
Man.
Yeah, so these guys are masters when it comes to this sort of thing.
Okay, so 2 questions you would hear in every gaming interview when it's out there.
Okay.
Of course, when you're in the Middle East, it became like a thing to do, and maybe even yourself, I guess, back in when you were a journalist, you were actually
Okay.
asking that.
Yeah.
The localization.
Yes.
Now, I know it's been a very tough call for a lot of
Yes.
companies, a lot of games. Will it work? Will it won't?
Mm.
Are we bringing the right voices? Are we going to just dub it? Are we going to translate
Yeah.
it? So, behind the scenes, only if you can actually answer that,
Yes.
like what kind of stuff that happened, what kind of questions you guys had to ask? Is it okay to be localized or not? And what would actually make you go localize the game?
I mean, you know, like we look at the scale of the project. Obviously, we want to see how many people are interested. I mean, like if you look at a game like Jump Force.
Yeah, Jump Force.
Jump Force was a big game because it had a lot of anime characters, and we know
Yes.
that these characters mean a lot to the people here,
Yes.
and especially those who speak the native language, which is you
Mm.
know, Arabic. In Bahrain, we're more fluent, I guess, in English and Arabic, but in other countries, maybe you'd have people who want to prefer just Arabic. So we definitely take that into consideration. So with Dragon Ball Z Kakarot being such a big game, and again, a love letter to the fans, we want to make sure that all the fans around the world get to
Yeah.
experience it in their own language. So we definitely know that a lot of people here prefer, I suppose they prefer watching it with the Japanese.
Japanese voice,
The
right?
Japanese voices, they just love it, and I
Yeah.
understand why. You know,
mean, yeah, of course.
it makes sense. So we thought of keeping that and just including the Arabic subtitles.
Okay.
So
okay.
there's Arabic subtitles and Arabic menu support.
Okay, yeah,
involved.
yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean that's a safe call, right? I
Mm.
mean, at the end of the day, because to actually mimic Goku's voice,
Yeah, it's a lot
mean-
of work.
I mean, like you said, I mean, we've been playing all these games, and a lot of times we would just read it either in English, but we still prefer the Japanese voices.
Yeah, because that's just like you have to think about how the animator is animating the character. They're basing
Yes.
it on how the voice actor is expressing the character, I guess. So I kind of understand why people prefer dub, or the original Japanese voiceovers than the dubbing. With dub, it's more challenging because if I was someone who speaks English and you know maybe saying this word is different in Japanese, so
Okay.
expressing that is more challenging, while also maintaining the right tone of the
All right,
character.
all right.
Yeah.
So playing Dragon Ball Z Kakarot,
Yeah.
why the name Kakarot?
Well, Kakarot is the name of Goku. That's his actual name. It is the
Yeah.
original name. Now I know a lot of people are wondering, Kakarot. That sounds like a weird name.
Yeah.
What does it mean? It's also carrots.
Vegeta goes like Kakarot, and
Yeah,
with his
it-
deep
it-
voice, I'm like, wow,
Yeah,
why?
he's very passionate because that's how Goku is actually a Saiyan.
Okay,
He comes from his own planet, his own
Yeah.
people, and that was his actual name,
Kakarot.
And he came from the planet Vegeta.
okay.
Vegeta is also the name of a character.
Yeah.
So this guy is so proud of his people. He has his own planet named after him. But you know, the idea is that obviously his planet was destroyed by Frieza, who is one of the villains which you will face in the game. So there's a lot of like meaning behind Kakarot because it is actually his Saiyan race. Because
Yeah.
when you watching Dragon Ball Z, Goku doesn't really know where he's from. He's still kind of understanding his purpose.
Yes.
And that's why
Yes.
Kakarot is such a strong word because it is literally the name his people gave him. So it's his journey. It's very personal.
It's very
Like
personal.
people may call you Bara, but maybe you have someone who calls you something else, and that's maybe something more personal. So the same thing with Goku. You know, Goku
Okay.
is his human name. Everyone calls him Goku because that's how people got to know him.
Okay.
But Kakarot is like his personal name. So that kind of means that it's his personal journey and that you
Alright.
get to experience it
Okay.
in the game.
Okay. So with the game itself right now, once we put our hands in the game, right? And we're gonna go with it. We can actually see the entire saga and go through the whole experience.
Yep.
Will we have to deal with some DLCs in the future?
Right now, I can't really talk about DLCs.
Okay.
But the idea here is that you're getting the full story, the whole
Okay.
story of Z. That's the main thing that we're trying to pursue with this.
Okay.
You know, we don't have anything to say regarding multiplayer DLC because I get those asked a lot, and it's mostly a single-player adventure game. You know,
okay.
it's the good old-fashioned game. You pick it up,
man, don't we miss that?
and you just play the game and you finish
Right?
it. You know, so that's the kind of experience you're getting with Dragon Ball Z
Okay,
Kakarot,
okay.
and I think you're gonna enjoy it.
Amazing, amazing. Well, anything we need to know before we end this session about Dragon Ball Kakarot?
Yeah, I mean, it's coming on PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
All right.
I'm personally gonna play it on PC.
Switch.
No, we don't really have anything right now on Switch.
Okay.
But we're still investing a lot in Switch. I mean,
Yes.
we announced Ultimate Ninja Storm 4 is coming to Switch. So who knows? You know, I can't say, but we definitely love Switch a lot as a platform. So
Amazing.
But for now, let's look forward to that, and I hope you guys all get to play it and we hear your feedback, of course.
Oh, definitely, man, definitely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, watching this segment right now, right here with the gaming and pop culture segment with Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. With us was Rashid Miqdad, the representative of Bandai Namco Middle East. So right now, back to the studio with a Kamehameha. Back to you.
That's all for this evening. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did, and we will continue to bring you the latest updates of what is taking place around the kingdom. If you have any suggestions or inquiries, send us an email or DM us on Instagram on the accounts shown on the screen. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.